What's up, everyone? I've been thinking about creating one-shot stories based entirely on fan requests from this amazing community that has supported me for the past 2 years. This is your chance to have your dream story come to life. Drop your one-shot ideas in the comments, and the one with the most likes will be the next story I create. If that one-shot gets 2,000 likes, I'll turn it into a full series. So, let your imagination run wild and share your best ideas. But please, no spamming.
Cross my heart and hope to die. Welcome to my dark side.
The battlefield was a wasteland of destruction. The very foundation of the Tournament of Powers stage had been torn apart. Massive craters, floating debris, and the lingering glow of residual energy attacks illuminated the war-torn ground. The tension in the air was suffocating, a weight that even the gods of destruction watching from above could feel. At the center of it all, 2 warriors stood unmoving, locked in a silent battle of wills. Goku's body pulsed with radiant silver light, his ultra instinct aura flickering around him like ethereal fire. His breath came sharp and uneven, but his expression remained calm. His body had long since abandoned thought, his movements now guided by pure instinct, a state of transcendence that even gods feared. Every fiber of his being had surrendered to the flow of battle, making him untouchable, unpredictable. His body moved like water, effortless, yet overwhelming. And yet, Jiren endured. The strongest mortal of Universe 11 stood firm, his crimson aura flaring like an unquenchable inferno. His muscles remained tense, but his face was as unreadable as ever, calm, unwavering, and filled with terrifying resolve. He had faced absolute power before. He had conquered everything in his path. He would not fall. Their eyes met. The void between them was shattered in an instant. Jiren moved first, his invisible fist. The technique bent space itself, launching an unseen shockwave faster than sound. The sheer force of it tore through the battlefield, causing cracks to spread like spiderwebs beneath Goku's feet. But something was different this time. Goku felt the attack before it even reached him. It wasn't just intuition, it was something deeper. He could sense the very essence of Jiren's ki, the way it shaped the world around them, the way it bent the air, the way it carried intention. Time slowed. His body reacted before his mind could even process what was happening. His own fist moved, an exact mirror of Jiren's technique. The moment their attacks collided, the entire battlefield trembled. A shockwave exploded outward, splitting the sky itself. The impact sent both warriors skidding back, the sheer force ripping apart the floating debris in the air. Jiren's eyes widened for the first time. What? Goku landed smoothly, his silver gaze flickering with realization. His breathing steadied. He had just used Jiren's own technique. But how? A memory surfaced, his training with the yard rats, spirit control. He had only scratched the surface back then, barely learning instant transmission before leaving. But spirit control wasn't just about teleportation, it was about understanding ki at its deepest level. It was about synchronizing with the very flow of energy itself. Now something inside him had awakened. His mastery of Ultra Instinct and spirit control had merged. Ultra Instinct was the pinnacle of pure reaction, a state where the body abandoned thought, surrendering entirely to instinct. But spirit control was something else entirely. It was more than just ki manipulation. It was understanding, a way to synchronize one's energy with the energy of others, to attune to their essence, their techniques, their very flow. Now for the first time, these two forces had become one. Goku could feel it deep within himself. With Ultra Instinct, he was free from hesitation. His body moved faster than thought, faster than any conscious decision. With spirit control, he could harmonize with any opponent's ki, absorbing the very essence of their abilities. He didn't need to learn techniques anymore. He became them. Jiren's crimson eyes narrowed as a flicker of uncertainty passed through his normally unshakable demeanor. He knew power, he knew speed, but this was something entirely different. But Jiren was not one to hesitate. Hesitation meant defeat. His body moved instantly, collapsing the distance between them with a force that warped space itself. Boom! His punch rocketed forward, cutting through the air with a pressure so intense it could have crushed entire worlds. But Goku was already gone, a flicker, a blur, a ghostly afterimage. Whoosh! Jiren's fist struck empty space. His instincts flared, too late. Bam! Goku's knee drove into Jiren's stomach, with a force that sent tremors through the entire battlefield. A shockwave blasted outward, shattering floating debris for miles. The sheer impact caused Jiren's crimson aura to flicker violently as he coughed, his body momentarily paralyzed by the devastating strike. But Jiren was a warrior forged through endless struggle. He retaliated on reflex, his fist already swinging toward Goku's jaw. But Goku's head simply moved. Not dodged, not blocked, just moved. As if the attack had never existed. Jiren's mind barely had time to register what had happened before. Crack! A brutal spinning heel kick slammed into the side of Jiren's head. The force of the blow bent the very air itself, distorting the space around them. Jiren staggered back, his feet carving trenches into the remains of the arena. His aura flared violently, a crimson inferno fighting against the invisible storm of Ultra Instinct. But Goku wasn't done. The moment Jiren steadied himself, Goku's hand shot forward. A thin, golden beam of Ki, Frieza's death beam, but faster. Zing! Jiren barely moved in time. The beam sliced past his cheek, searing the skin with a thin burn. His eyes blazed with fury. "What are you doing, Saiyan?" But before he could finish, Goku vanished. Jiren's instincts screamed. His fist was already flying toward Goku's positions. But before impact, snap! Goku's entire arm stretched. The unexpected reach allowed him to catch Jiren's wrist mid-strike, twisting it with unnatural flexibility. Jiren's eyes widened in shock. From the stands, Piccolo's sharp eyes locked onto the movement. "That's my technique," he muttered, stunned. Krillin leaned forward in his seat, his eyes glued to the battlefield. His fingers clenched the edge of the stand as he watched in disbelief. "Wait, what? He's using your stretchy arm thing?" His voice was hoarse with shock as he turned to Piccolo. But how? Piccolo didn't answer. His sharp eyes remained locked on the fight, his mind racing to process what he had just witnessed. Down below, Jiren yanked his wrist free, breaking Goku's grip with raw force. The moment he was loose, Goku had already repositioned himself, flipping back through the air with effortless grace. His hands blurred through a rapid series of movements, motions that were all too familiar. Jiren's eyes narrowed. Goku thrust his arms forward. Hellzone grenade! The sky above Jiren erupted with dozens of Ki orbs, glowing spheres of destruction raining down from every direction. They hovered ominously, surrounding Jiren from every angle, sealing off every escape route. Then, with a flick of Goku's wrist, boom! The orbs detonated all at once, a symphony of violent explosions that swallowed Jiren whole. Shockwaves rippled outward, carving deep trenches into what remained of the battlefield. A thick cloud of dust and smoke surged into the air, the sheer force of the attack shaking the entire arena. The crowd held its breath, but as the smoke cleared, Jiren stood tall. His arms were still crossed, untouched, unshaken. His crimson eyes flickered upward, locking onto Goku with an icy glare. Pathetic! A single shockwave pulsed from his body, and then he was gone. A blur of red, faster than thought, faster than light. Crack! Jiren's fist buried itself into Goku's stomach. Goku's entire body folded inward, his eyes widening in shock. The impact sent him rocketing across the battlefield, his body skipping like a stone across a raging ocean. The air howled from the sheer force, shockwaves tearing through the remains of the arena. Boom! He slammed into a floating boulder. The massive rock shattered on contact, crumbling into debris that spiraled off into the void. Silence. For a moment, all that remained was the echo of destruction. Then, a grunt. Goku slowly pulled himself free from the rubble, shaking his head to clear the daze. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. He wiped it away with the back of his hand and exhaled sharply. Above him, Jiren was already there. His body cast a towering shadow over Goku, his crimson aura flaring wildly. His fist dropped like a meteor, a final blow meant to end it all. But Goku's hand lifted, not to dodge, not to block, to stop it. Jiren's entire body froze mid-motion. His punch never landed. It hovered mere inches from Goku's palm, held in place as if reality itself had been rewritten. For the first time, Jiren's eyes widened in shock. What? A low hum filled the air. A dark purple glow pulsed around Goku's fingers. The energy was overwhelming, dense with divine destruction. Beerus, who had remained silent until now, suddenly stood up. His sharp feline eyes narrowed. No way. That's Hakai. The moment the word left Goku's lips, The god of destruction's technique ignited. A terrifying purple aura surged around Jiren's arm, consuming it in an instant. His very existence trembled against it. The sheer pressure warped the air, distorting the battlefield. Jiren gritted his teeth. His aura exploded in resistance, crimson energy clashing violently against the Hakai. But it wasn't enough. His face twisted in fury. "I won't lose!" With a final deafening shout, Jiren's power erupted outward in desperation. The force of his energy shattered the Hakai, dispersing it, but not without a cost. His arms smoked. His once flawless skin was now charred, burned by the touch of destruction itself. His breathing had grown heavier, his muscles visibly tense. For the first time, Jiren looked exhausted. Goku landed softly, his silver eyes calm yet piercing. The battle was far from over, and then he smiled. Because for the first time in the entire fight, Jiren looked afraid. And that's it for this one-shot, guys. If you guys would like to see this turn into a full-fledged series, get the video to 2,000 likes, so share with a friend. With that said, I'll see you guys in another one.